All right, and we're live. So thank you guys for joining the Personal Branding One-on-One. This is my version of a virtual meetup. I feel like it's kind of nice to be able to meet virtually. Sometimes being in the DMV area, it's really tough to get together in one location. And so Drinks and Dreams is designed to have productive happy hours virtually and in person. So there is a in-person meetup. It's a vision board workshop to help you really create the personal brand and the life you really want to create in your career. This Wednesday in Tyson's Corner at the Uber offices. The ticket is $20, and a part of the ticket includes the workshop material, so all of the supplies and the magazines and everything else to make your vision board. It also includes the drink portion of Drinks and Dreams, so it is a happy hour, so there will be alcohol provided. And then lastly, every participant gets a 1-hour coaching session with myself around the next steps with the workshop. So I'll get into a little bit about me, but really I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day today. I know this is an hour that you could be doing anything with your time, and I really appreciate you giving yourself the gift of investing in yourself and continuing to learn and do something in service of your dreams. That's the work that I'm up to as a life and business coach. Trained in a model of not necessarily just getting you moving, but really accelerating your movement, challenging you, confronting you, getting you out of your automatic habits. And there's a specific way we do that. So I just want to thank you first for taking the time out of your day to give you that gift. Also, like I said, this is going to be an open Q&A, so feel free to interrupt me at any time. Just a conversation, sharing a couple of my tips and stories that I've created around my personal brand. So at any time, jump in and say, hey, Kiara, hold on. I want to ask a question. Any questions so far?
Nope. Nope.
Awesome. Perfect. So I'm going to start off with an introduction, but I'm not going to make it the stodgy way. I actually want to tell you a story about when I discovered my personal brand. And that was back actually in middle school, so many, 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 many years ago. I was running for the vice president of something. It was student government, or it was maybe secretary. I think I was in like 7th grade. And I remember being in the gymnasium, and they were announcing the winners over the PA system. And they said, and the winner is Kira McEwen. And I was like, that's not my name. Well, I lost. So I walk out of the class, walking down the hall, and everyone was like, oh, yay, I voted for you, congratulations. And it's like, my name is not Kira, my name is Kiara. Well, I voted for you, right? Your name starts with a K. I said, no, my name starts with a Q. And I went home that night, and I really thought about it, and I was like, how in the world do my friends not know how to spell my name? They're my friends, and they voted for me, but they got it wrong. And I kind of started to get a little frustrated. I was talking to my mom about it, and I was like, well, how could they get that wrong? She goes, well, your name starts with a Q. And that's when I realized that's what made me unique. My name started with a Q, but yet no one knew about it. No one connected who I really was to what they knew me to be. And so the next year, because I'm not one to give up at all, I made sure that my campaign, because I was going to have to run again, made it really, really clear about what was unique with me. So again, this was back in the 90s, and I'm going to play a song for you so that you can relate to what my campaign was, and then I'll sing you my campaign. So let me take my headphones out, and let me know if you can hear this. Let me see what you got for me. Put all your hands in my eyes to see. I'm running in the place to be. If you really want to party with me, let me see what you got for me. Put your hands in my eyes to see. I'm running in the place to be. If you really want to party with me. All right, so
I could not understand a thing he said.
He said, if you really want to party with me, something, something, something. I'm going to sing you what mine was. So that was Busta Rhymes, If You Really Want to Party With Me. It was like a really popular song back in that day. And so my slogan was, if you really want to party with me, vote for the Q to the U to the E. I'm running for vice presidency. Voting for me is the place to be.
Oh, that's cool.
It was the funniest, cute little song, but because it was like hot right then, because Busta Rhymes was the thing that all the teenagers and preteens were listening to, that was my campaign slogan. I wrote it on posters, I had it in my speech, Everyone was singing it, and it worked. People didn't need to know how to spell my name. They just needed to know that my name started with a Q to the U to the E. And I won. And they were then able to associate my name to my brand, and every single year, kid you not, I couldn't run away from it. I was the president of that class. When I went to high school and when I was in 9th grade and I said, no, I don't want to do it anymore, I really want to focus on being a high schooler, I had my friends dragging me down to the office, making sure that I signed up to run for president. And it became one of my biggest accomplishments as a teenager. And so what I'm pointing at is that what really was kind of different about me, I was able to leverage to associate who I was as a person to something tactical that really helped people connect my brand to an action that they can take. And so then from there, I went into marketing. And so I have a background in marketing, and like I said, I am a trained life coach. I train through Accomplishment Coaching, and they have coaching programs throughout the whole nation. They also have one in Malaysia as well, so they're a really great company if you're ever looking into becoming a life and business coach. But because of my passion behind marketing and life coaching, I blend what I've learned into a really strong power system of being authentic with who you are professionally and personally. I don't believe that there's a separation. I believe that in terms of work-life balance, who you are personally and professionally are the same brand, and it's important to blend that so that you're actually living your life intentionally and not kind of getting caught up in the rat race. So your personal brand, by definition, or at least how I define it, is how people interpret you. We all are walking around with a personal brand, no matter if we think we are or not. It doesn't matter if you're on social media. It doesn't matter what your resume looks like. It's how you show up. It's who you are to other people. It's what their perceptions are of you. So you could walk in your office, polish, nice outfit, but not willing to say good morning to anyone. Your personal brand is that person not willing to say good morning. It's who you authentically want to be. And I really say that because going into my first tip, it's something that we sometimes don't attribute to personal branding. Authenticity is really important, and sometimes we think we just need to gloss it up and make it a marketing package. So I'm going to go into my 5 tips that I've learned. A few of my 5 tips. I have a bunch of other tips too. But before then, I want you to consider this. From a coaching perspective, you took the time today to learn something. What would be possible if you were to empower every single tip I offer today into your life? And not just learning it, writing it down, and say, oh, okay, I did something. But really looking at it and applying it to your life and getting committed around the next step to move you forward. So just listen for that when I'm going through each tip, okay? I'll take the silence as okay.
Okay.
I'm in a conversation. Okay, great.
Sorry.
Thank you. No worries, no worries. How many of you on the call have heard of Simon Sinek?
Yeah.
What?
Cool. Okay. Simon Sinek, Julie, have you heard of him? He's the guy that always talks about people don't buy what you do, but why you do it.
Oh, I don't know that much about him.
Okay, no worries. You should get to know him. It's pretty cool. So the first basis of what I'm talking about is something out of his Stand Out in the Job Market guide. Simon Sinek has a TED Talk that talks about people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And he's created a golden circle, and I'll show it to you actually. I'll just put this on screen share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Well,
So this is his, oh, okay. So this is his golden circle. And he said, people usually start from what they do. So from the outside going in, instead of starting from why they do something. So why is your purpose, your cause, or your belief, you know, what gets you up in the morning. Then your how are the actions you take to realize your why. And then the what are the results of putting your why into action. So very common in the business world, or any part of the world really, it's all about what results you can produce. You had a 400,000% increase in ROI, or you generated $20,000, or you raised $1 million in fundraising for the Red Cross. Sure, that's what you did. You may have done it by knocking on people's doors and swiping their credit cards. But why did you do it? Did you do it because you were in a disaster 10 years back and you saw the struggles? Or did you do it because you know that there are other people in this world who are suffering and you've been privileged to have what you need in the world? If you start from your why, people will follow you. You start with your what, and you just become a commodity. So here's a way, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to me. Here are 3 questions to think about in terms of designing your why. Again, Simon Sinek has this in his guide, and he goes into more detail on his website. But I really thought these were really key components, and I have all of my clients walk through these questions first. First question. If you were to tattoo one verb on your body, what would it say?
Do we answer you now?
You can if you want. I'm just letting you be with the question.
Okay.
Do you have an answer?
Oh, sure. Determined.
Determined?
Yeah.
Can you determine? Determine is an adjective. Do you have a verb?
I said verb. Sorry.
No worries.
No.
No worries. So let's say the verb would be to teach. Just throw it out there, to teach. Okay. So the second question would be, if everyone in the world were to blank, so that's the verb that you would tattoo on your body. So if everyone in the world were to teach, what kind of world would it be?
There you go.
But you see what I mean? It really puts you deeper into the action and the purpose, and not just around like, oh, I teach so that kids can be educated. So what kind of world would it be if everyone were to teach? It would be a highly educated world. It would be a world where people are all equal, where people are creating amazing things and challenging the status quo. A people where we're not divided by our education, but we're united by a common ground, and we're building upon each other. Totally just made that up. I'm just saying, getting you really present to the vision of what kind of world it would be if everyone was to do that verb. Make sense?
So the tattooed word has to be a verb.
Yes.
So like if everyone persevered, it can't be like strength or courage or hardworking, like she said, determined.
Yeah, it needs to be a
Right.
verb.
It throws you, right?
It does. And this is only a taste of one of those coaching type questions. This is what we're up to. We're up to elevating the conversation, getting you into deeper thought, driving you to your purpose.
Wow.
So for me, one time I've had clients who are like, to inspire. Well, if everyone in the world was to inspire each other, what kind of world would it be? You know, it could be one of hope. It could be one that, you know, has so many possibilities. So let me tie up the last little bit for you. Those 2 things, the verb and the what type of world it would be, is going to be crafted into a very draft version of your why. And you get to play with this, and you get to share it with other people, so don't be stuck on it, but I want to give you a foundation. So the sentence goes like this. I wake up every day inspired to blank, inspired to teach as an example, so that blank, whatever the world's going to be. I wake up every day inspired to teach so that the world will be full of a united possibility. Maybe. The thing to think about with this is that at first it kind of feels like, oh, it's kind of lofty. But this is your foundation. You then get to incorporate it into what you're up to. So if you're a nurse and you want to, maybe you have a passion for teaching, so you want to create new nurses, teach new nurses, develop them. I wake up every day inspired to teach new nurses so that there's equal health care for everyone in the world. You see how you can kind of tweak it so that it fits your need, your industry, your career? Maybe. Maybe it's so confusing.
I get it.
Okay, good. So the idea behind this is to create your brand statement. That's the purpose. Your brand statement is that thing that's going to unite your personal brand everywhere. Social media, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, any places that you need a bio. There's some times where you might be, applying to be a speaker somewhere, or you have a headshot. That personal brand statement should be the first thing they see, the first thing they read. I usually tell my clients, even in their LinkedIn headline, where it usually just takes your previous employer or your current employer, replace it with your headline. I'm inspired to ignite people's passions. What are you up to? What's your why? And I love for it to replace that section on your resume that's your typical objective paragraph. No one reads it anyway. Resumes are supposed to be scanned, quick, and easy. Replacing that with 1 or 2 lines around your why really drives it home, really has people connect with who you are as a person authentically instead of the results you produce, because you can always do that in the bottom of your resume. And then lastly, for those of you who are in a full-time career that has like a performance evaluation, I also recommend that you include that in your self-evaluation. Remind your employer why you do what you do. It's not just always about the results you produce, but they want to see this passion-driven, mission-focused employee. The more you can connect your why statement throughout all areas of your life, the more you can start shaping that personal brand, because again, it's about people's perspective of you. Any questions about tip 1? Because I know we kind of stayed on that for a little bit, but I just want to make sure it's really clear, because it's really important, your personal brand statement. Does anyone currently use a personal brand statement? No. So there you go. There's an opportunity right there. I can also send you in an email these questions again and the blanks so that you can start playing around with it. Okay, I'll do that in a follow-up email. So number 2, my second tip that I've definitely taken on as a practice for a while now is embarrassment on purpose. And I know that sounds a little funky, but the thing that makes you embarrassed is actually your unique differentiator, if you really think about it. So for me, I was embarrassed that I lost that race because my name started with a Q. You know how embarrassing it is for people to look at your name and cannot pronounce it, and they're going Quera or Quara, or they won't even attempt it. They'll just say my last name because it's just so weird. And for a long time, I was embarrassed by it. I would nickname myself. I wouldn't introduce myself as Kiera. I would just phonetically put my pronunciation under any name tag as if it was okay. And then one day I owned it. And that's what you really could take a look at. Take a look at the things that embarrasses you in your career. Maybe you're embarrassed that you've had multiple jobs. Instead of being embarrassed, how can you embrace that? How can you leverage that to be different? How can you show that you've had a diverse set of experiences, or you are very clear and intentional about what you want and identifying when you don't like where you're at, and so you move on. There's a lot of strength in being able to make those transitions. So a couple of things I want you to think about is what's something you're embarrassed about, and then what could you create if you were to take that embarrassment and be intentional about it, as if you were being embarrassed on purpose. That's really what's going to make you unique. What did you guys hear from that?
Ooh, hello. Okay. Embrace your embarrassment.
How does that feel? What does that sound like, to embrace your embarrassment?
Well, liberating once you do it.
Yeah. And consider you're just going to be practicing it too, because sometimes it may still show up as embarrassing, but you're not going to get to what makes you unique until you start relating to your uniqueness as something to be embarrassed about. So I'm going to move on to tip 3, getting on trend. So in my example about my personal brand, like I said, Busta Rhymes was on trend. He was like in the top 20 hip hop songs. Everyone knew him. Everyone was singing that song. It was an easy hook. So I just attached myself to that trend. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go out and start twerking or do some type of crazy trend right now, right? When planking was out, everyone was doing all kinds of weird pictures. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about staying with the times. So consider the internet and social media. I know that it's been a radical shift, and we're all still catching up on it. We're all trying to be on the new platforms, or just remember to sign in on Facebook and do anything on Facebook alone. Don't try to be on everything if you're new to social media, but at least try to be where your potential target audience is. If you're an entrepreneur, you want to be where your customers are. If you're a business professional, you want to be where the business professionals are, where your opportunities are. So for business professionals, it goes without saying everyone should have a completed LinkedIn profile. And I stress completed. There is no reason for your LinkedIn profile to be incomplete if you have a resume. It's a copy and paste. And now you have a brand statement, so you're able to put that in the headline, which is going to set you apart by leaps and bounds. If you just did a search on LinkedIn to see how many people had your typical business professional title versus their why statement, it really sets you apart. It really gives somebody a reason to click on your profile. The other cool thing that I like to do with some of my business professional clients is to highly suggest that you buy your name as a URL. So like for me, I own Kiara.com. Really consider buying your name or your full name just to have it, just to hold it. Like if you think about it, if Oprah didn't do it, and now she's big time Oprah, whoever bought Oprah first and squatted on her URL could charge her $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 just to hand over the rights for your URL. And I'm not saying you're going to be like Oprah big, even though I really think anyone can be Oprah big. What I am saying is claim your identity now. Claim your identity now, even if you don't want to ever be on the social media platforms. Claim your identity now. Because social media is something that's always going to be prevalent. The internet is always going to be there. And a URL, seriously, 99 cents on GoDaddy for the first year. It costs you nothing. Well, not literally, but you know what I mean. And if you're an entrepreneur, same thing. It's even more critical. You really need to get on top of your brand immediately. And that goes without saying around buying all your social media, all your URLs, and even just creating a very simple business card. I have a lot of entrepreneurs that I work with that are kind of hesitant. Well, I don't know my personal brand yet, so I don't want to, put money into printing a business card. Once again, Vistaprint has 250 business cards for free. You don't have to have a perfect personal brand. You just have to start and get it put out there and get some feedback from it. Brands always evolve. How many times did Pepsi redo their logo? You want to evolve. You're not going to be the same person now as you're going to be in 5, 10, 20 years. But you got to start somewhere, and don't let perfection get in the way. The last thing I want to say about getting on trend in terms of internet and social media is the importance of a really good headshot. I see most of you guys have pretty good headshots down there, so you're pretty good to go. Share this with your friends too. A good headshots are really easy to get. I always recommend that my clients go outside, maybe on a partly cloudy day so it's not as sunny and you're not like scouring your eyebrows, and have a friend take a picture of you with a professional or whatever fits your brand. It doesn't have to be professional, but whatever fits your style from the shoulders up. Natural backgrounds look really good. If you can't get outside, go to a hotel lobby. You do beautiful photo shoots in a hotel lobby, or even in like, you know what I mean, or even like in a business park or something. But it doesn't have to be anything special. Please, though, I know that none of you guys do this, but don't put a selfie up. We can see your arm. We can see the angle. We don't want to look up your nose. Don't do a selfie.
Use a selfie stick?
No, not even if you use a selfie stick. I know. I know. And that gets people hung up sometimes. Well, I don't have money for a professional photographer. You don't need one. All you need is you and a buddy. Could be a stranger on the street. Just stand, polished, ready to go, and cheese a couple of times. But it's really important. And then, of course, take that picture and be consistent everywhere. same profile picture throughout all your social media platforms, anywhere on the internet. There's also some tools you can do. If you guys are interested in having like a one-page website, because sometimes websites get complicated, but if you just want to have a place where people can Google you and it goes to your URL that you've just purchased, check out about.me. Have you guys heard of about.me, the website? About.me is a personal branding website that allows you to just create an account, and you can pick your background, and you can pick your font, and you put your headshot up there, and they give you some text to put in your bio. So of course your why statement will go in there, a couple more sentences about you or what you're up to, and then you're able to connect your social media accounts for any type of bio or resume or whatever, just as links. And it's a very flat page, doesn't go deep. It's just one page that's, hey, this is Kiera Fenderson. Here's my why statement. Here's what I do. And here's some links to get to know me a little bit better. You can connect them to LinkedIn or Facebook or anything else you want to, or you don't have to do it at all. But the cool thing about it is people, no matter what, are going to Google you. That's the trend. You can't get away from it. So instead of them Googling and trying to figure out who you are and which one is you and what's good and what's bad, you get to own it by having an about.me page. So check it out. It's really a quick and easy way to control it. And then you can redirect your URL right to that about.me page. So if you need any help with that, you can message me in the meetup and I can show you how to do that as well. The last part about handling your online presence and social media presence, have you all Googled yourself lately? Or has anyone not Googled themselves lately? Okay. So yeah, I like to Google myself at least once a month or whenever I get bored, just to make sure. I had a client before who Googled herself, and we were digging through her results, and I said, well, don't forget to look at your images. And we went to her image, and usually, you go further down in the images, and they're kind of not related. But the first one or two rows will be related to you if your online presence is strong enough. And the first, maybe it was like the second row, there was a picture of a window with a bullet hole through it. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Let's click that and see what that's about. Well, what had happened was in the article, some news article, her first name was in the first beginning part of the paragraph, and her last name was in the fourth part of the paragraph, or the article at the bottom, and they were the first name and the last name of two different people that were in this whole debacle. It had nothing to do with her at all. And she was looking for a new job, so that wasn't really good at all. So what I suggest, if you ever Google yourself and you see some things that are just not yours and you really need to clean up some bad personal branding out there, go to brandyourself.com. They've been around for a couple years now, and they're really growing, and now they're going into more personal and professional settings. But brandyourself.com is a site where you can create an account, and they have a tool that they Google your name, and they give you all your results, and you get to say, this is me, this is not me, and you kind of filter and clean it. They also monitor all the new results that come up. So they're really good on cleaning up your brand. A lot of corporations and executives use this just to make sure that their brand is intact, but I usually suggest this if there's something that's just egregious in your personal brand online. You might want to do it for like a couple of months. There is a monthly fee. I'm not exactly sure how much it is, but you can check it out and just use it for a couple months to clean it up while you get back into control around your social brand online, or your personal brand online. And I went through that pretty quickly, but are any questions about, the online trend, social media trend right now in your personal brand?
No.
Okay, good. Julie, are you still with us?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
I don't have any questions. I'm just listening.
All right, good. Just making sure. And I see everyone else is still with us. I see some microphones on mute, so I just trust when you're guys ready to jump in, you can unmute and jump in. Tip number 4, embrace your relationships. And this is really important because some of us who are really go-getters, like me, you feel like you have to do it on your own. You feel like you have a really small group of people, of community of support, and you don't really necessarily toot your horn loud enough. The first thing you need to do as you're developing your personal brand is get it out to your friends and family, because they know you way better than you may know yourself. At least they know how they perceive you, right? don't know what you look like outside of yourself because you can't get out of yourself. So I really think it's important to share what you're up to in terms of your personal brand. And then share what you're developing your personal brand for, right? So let's say you're going for a promotion. What's the harm in actually telling your boss you're going for a promotion? Or what's the harm in actually telling one of your coworkers you're going for a promotion? Now you have outside support, so when you're in that meeting and you're trying to put your poker face on but you really don't have it on, they're there to give you the eye to say, oh wait, you're a little off. They're there to be your outside mirror to reflect when your personal brand isn't in line with what you're trying to create. They're kind of like your sidekick in a sense, just to make sure you're at your best. So really enroll the people around you, around what type of personal brand you're trying to create, who you want to be, and what you're creating it in service of. What is the end result you're trying to have out of having this particular type of personal brand? I usually like to say that support comes with 3 R's. First R is recommendations. People trust when they see recommendations. If you guys have a LinkedIn profile and you haven't gotten a recommendation yet, I challenge you as your action item out of this step to go on LinkedIn, and you can even Google how to get a recommendation. Find some of the people in your past or in your current to write a very brief recommendation for you. That is trusted proof for people who don't know your personal brand. And it speaks volumes when it comes authentically through someone else instead of you writing it and copy and pasting it on like a website or something. The second R, not the third one, the second R would be referrals. So if you're in business on your own, or even if you are looking for a new job, don't be afraid to ask for referrals. Don't be afraid to ask for introductions. You have to really be intentional about your support. People will say, oh yeah, I definitely want to support you. Be specific and say, great, would you be able to provide me with 1 referral by the end of this week? Or would you be able to connect me to this person I see you're connected to on LinkedIn? Here's a little bit about me. Give them your brand statement, a one-liner that says what I'm about and why you should make that referral for me. That's another facility of having that brand statement. So it's easy for them to say, oh, that's what you're up to, and here's why you should get to know this person. And then the third R would be reflection. Now, I kind of pointed to this before about telling people what you're up to, but I like to use the example that they teach us in our training program. Your reflection, like a mirror, can tell you that your hair is messed up, but the mirror cannot fix your hair. That's what you're looking for. That support to say, hey, something's a little off, you may want to take a look so that you can fix it about yourself. If you have blind spots, we all do. That's exactly why we have mirrors. So use your support and identify those people in your network who you trust that can be a reflection of what you're actually trying to create. Any questions about embracing your relationships?
Nope.
Cool. So I'm moving through this kind of quickly because I do want to make sure we have enough time for a little bit of Q&A for anything personal, but I have a last tip, and this is really around the basis of the coaching I do. I'm an ontological coach, and that's the coaching around your being in the world, your presence in the world. It's not about just accelerating your results, but it's who you authentically are as a person, and we call it your essence. Your essence is what makes you authentic, and sometimes we go into our automatic habits, or we can call them survival mechanisms. It's just the way we typically do things in the world that we don't notice, the things that we're blind to, the things that we just know how to react in terms of protecting us from our fears or keeping us in our comfort zones, or things that just make us feel safe. Yet they're not authentic in terms of what we want to do, and we have been doing them for so long that you don't even notice it. So like your survival mechanism is the part of you that shows up to make things feel really familiar, to make you feel like you have control over something, that forces you to feel like you need to understand or you need to know how this is going to turn out in order for you to move forward. It's driven by a lot of your feelings, it's driven by a lot of the thoughts in your mind, and it's really good at avoiding, waiting, and being afraid. Very good at it. Your essence is actually the part of you that shows up intentionally on purpose to move you forward. It gives you access to a greater amount of power. It's the part of you that accepts your embarrassment, your vulnerabilities, and know that that's just what makes you human. And it's the part of you that really trusts in any possibility without even knowing. So it's the part of you that takes the risk that normally you'd be afraid of. And ultimately, your essence, when you're coming from that part of you, is the one that makes you fully present in your choices. If you take a moment to just stop and think about what's behind the next choice, you can identify if you're afraid, if you're avoiding, if you need to have guarantees, if you feel out of control. You can start noticing those things and those behaviors in your body, and then choose to not come from that place. Come from a place of possibility. Come from a place of power. Come from a place of trusting that if you continue to move forward, everything is going to be okay. Coming from your essence at work or at home or in your family life or with friends, it really ensures your brand consistency, because it gives you a model as to in which to act throughout all environments. It doesn't change up who you are when you're in a professional environment. It doesn't change up who you are around your friends. Well, granted, you're going to have some changes, right? Like, you may be a little bit more relaxed and watch your words a little bit with your friends versus professional, but at the core, your values are your values, your presence is your presence. The way you make your choices, no matter if they're professional choices or personal choices, are going to be consistent, because you're always coming from this powerful place of your essence instead of coming from the fearful place of your survival mechanism. So if you're interested in learning more about their essence, it's a deeper conversation. I'm really wrapping it up into a quick summary just because of time. But as a coach, I have a full conversation. It's about an hour to an hour and a half long, where we get to explore your essence. We get to talk about this more in detail. It's something I do completely free for anyone who's interested. Shauna, you and I are going to be doing that a little bit later this week, right?
Yep, I think it's tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, tomorrow, yeah, Tuesday, right? We're doing Tuesday. So if you're interested, just send me a message on in the meetup or through my email. It doesn't matter. But if you're interested in learning your essence, it's a really great conversation. It gives you a different perspective on what we typically create our lives, the framework we create our lives in, and it opens you up to another possibility. It's just another way to look at life. But I think it's a really great component to integrate with your personal brand, because it really does provide that consistency. Any questions around this point?
Nope.
Cool. Perfect. Great. So we're at 6:43, which gives us about 15 minutes or so for some Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, I'm ready for them. Or you can let me off really easily, and that's fine too.
Question.
Yes.
How do I sign up to do the learning my essence?
Oh, perfect. I will email you after this call, and I will send you some appointment times. I'm pretty free this week, actually, which is really great. So I can just give you some call sometimes. After work better, or do you have time during the day?
After.
Okay, no worries. We'll shoot for something around 6 o'clock again then.
Okay.
Perfect. Anyone have any questions around some of the technical things that I talked about, the social media, playing around with any of the why statements? I know I threw out a bunch of different resources, and I know I went pretty quickly, so let me know if you want me to go over anything else again. Okay. Well, you can always email me. You know how to find me. And like I said in the beginning of the call, our next meetup is on Wednesday. It's at the Uber offices in Tysons, where we do a lot of vision board development, some coaching practices, and socializing to really help you focus on living a really powerful career intentionally. And I'm pretty excited for it. I actually did it about a month ago, and it was really a great experience. I mean, if you've never experienced vision boards before, I have one, and it's really helped to manifest Oh, did you say something?
I have
Ah.
one. I have one. I don't
Oh,
know if you
did
can
you?
see it. It's
Oh,
above
let me
my
see.
head.
Yeah, I see it. Very nice. How has your vision board worked for you?
Oh man, I've done that years ago. I want to update it. So I would like to do the one you're having Wednesday, but I'm unavailable.
Yeah.
Are you do it next month?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing them monthly. I want to balance, well, we can create it since we're, our own community of meetup people. But I was
Okay.
thinking about balancing the in-person with the virtual. So far, I have a couple of people interested, but playing around with the time, I'm not sure if Wednesday's going to work out. So I'll completely base it off of how many RSVPs we get. And if we don't have a pretty good size, then I'll go ahead and reschedule it for another time. But let's start a chat on Meetup to just kind of figure out what days and times works for in person. And until then, we'll do some virtual events. But I would love to be able to do at least one event a month, whether it's in person or virtual, just to keep our discussions and community growing.
Okay.
Good, perfect. Well, thanks for the feedback too. That's helpful. Playing around with dates all the time, you never know what works for people. Well, all right. If there aren't any other questions, we can wrap up early and give you 15 more minutes of your time back. All right.
Well, thank you for the information.
Oh, no, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining Drinks and Dreams, for participating in the Google Hangout. This is my second one doing it, and I love being able to just interact and engage back and forth and meet you guys kind of virtually but still connecting. So, yeah, once again, thank you so much. Empower these tips. Do something with them. Build your personal brand. Get started now. And don't forget that now you're part of this community. I'm a part of your support network. So let me know if you have any questions, if you missed anything. You can always just email me. My email address is so me at Queira.com. ME@QUEIRRA.com. And by now you know my name starts with a Q. So thank you, ladies, once again. It's been an absolute pleasure. I cannot wait to continue doing these with you. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.